Hereby call the Iberia Parish Council meeting of December 18th to order. It is about 6:10 now. We'll have Mr. Chad Montserrat lead us in the prayer.
Heavenly Father, in our hearts we plan our course, but we pray that you establish our steps. I pray that we seek your advice. Let us not make decisions based upon what we know, but let us act based upon your wisdom. Please guide us, Lord. We place this meeting in your hands. We place our hearts and minds in your hands so that you may be directed. Amen.
Amen. Ms. Natalie Broussard to pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Tommy Pollard. Here. Michael Landry. Tommy Landry. Lloyd Brown. Here. Warren Goshasang. Here. Natalie Broussard. Here. Paul Landry.
Here.
Ricky Gonsalem. Joe Dugas. Eugene Olivier. Here. Brian Napier. Berwick Francis. Marty Trahan. Here. Chad Montserrat.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Tonight, Mr. Ricky's sick. Michael Landry is stuck in New Orleans. Mr. Brian Napier, his son is in the hospital and they don't know what's going on, so they're dealing with that at home. And Mr. Tommy Landry had eye surgery today. So we just made it with 8. So I need a motion and a second to get us into public comments. I have a motion by Mr. Pollard, a second by Mr. Brown. Roll call. That motion passes. We're now in public comments. The policy allows for 3 minutes per person. Item number 1, comments from the general public on non-agenda items. And I do not have anybody, so we'll go on to 2, comments from the general public on agenda items. A, persons being considered for appointment to Iberia Parish boards, commissions to address the council. First up, I have Ms. Fran Henderson. Ms. Fran will be looking for an appointment today.
Hi, my name is Fran Henderson. I have been involved with economic development for many years, and so I am asking to be appointed to the IEDA board, the Iberia Economic Development Authority.
Okay, and we have no questions? Well, thank you very much. Next up, we have Mr. Bobby Norris, and he'll be on agenda item 2A.
Good evening. 2 words. I'm back. I've been on the Mosquito Abatement Board for the first term. It's up for renewal for the second term. I humbly ask your support. I would love to serve, continue to serve. We're there to help and support. Mr. Jones is doing an outstanding job. As you know, we're the only board that gives you back money, and we take pride in that. We do work hard to make sure that you get some money back. So if you have any questions.
Mr. Bobby, if we move all of y'all to another board, can we be guaranteed we get money from that board?
The salary would have to increase.
Oh, that can be worked out. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have no questions. Let's see. Next up is Mr. Edward Burke, who's applying for the Spanish Lake and Game Commission.
How are y'all doing? Name's Edmund Burke, and I'm trying to get up onto the Spanish Lake game position. Ugh, I'm nervous in front of y'all. I've never done this before. And I was an avid hunter and fisherman all my life, and I like Spanish Lake. I think it's a wonderful place, and I was hoping to be on the board with y'all support, and that was most what I got.
Thank you very much. Thanks for stepping up. And is Mr. Ronald Clark here today? Okay, so seeing no other individuals wishing to speak, I have a motion and a second to go back with Mr. Pollard and Mr. Brown. Roll call. Okay, we're now back in regular session. Reports, Finance, and Administration. Item number 1, balance sheet for October 2019 on request. Item number 2, budget report for October 2019. That's also on request. Reports, parish and governmental agencies. We have none. Public Works report, we have none, unless Mr. Herman would like to say anything. Special business, we have none. Next up is council member announcements. Is there any of the council? Mr. Goshasan.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to wish everyone around the parish a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, especially to my district. Thanking them for another term, and it's just a privilege to serve District 5, so I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So do we have anyone else that wants to make any comments? I will say that we do have someone coming to the parish, actually coming on my street. Mr. Lennon Landry will be moving down to my house, to 2 houses down from me, and he'll be a resident of Iberia Parish. He's also my grandson. So, yeah, if we can't get him on the council, we're going to put him on the same street. Next up, parish president announcements. Mr. Richard.
Okay, litter abatement program for December the 7th and the 14th. We picked up 116 bags of trash on Avery Allen Road. That's a lot of trash. 116 bags. One other thing I want to pass on is Waste Connection. The pickup for people for Wednesday, December the 25th and January the 1st. Their trash pickup will be on Thursday. The other thing I want to mention is today I attended a meeting in St. Martin Parish. We had the Corps of Engineers, members from CPRA, Louisiana Watershed, and a host of other people, as well as all of the parish presidents from the region. We discussed possible flood control projects in Region 5. It's a very big deal. As you know, that's the $1.2 billion that we have for the Louisiana Watershed project, or watershed projects. So we certainly staying on top of that. Public Works, we had some cleaning of culverts in District 8, 10, 13, and 14. We had culvert inspections in District 11. Debris was picked up throughout the parish. We had trees down in District 8, 9, and 12. We did some field drainage work in District 9, some roadside drainage work in District 10. We did some road grading in District 2, 3, 9, 12, and 14. Road patching in District 3, 5, 6, 8, 10, 11, 13, and 14. Road repair work in District 7, 10, and 14. And some side boom work, field drainage in District 6, and ditch drainage or ditch side booms in various districts throughout the parish. I think I better let y'all go with this one. I think that's it for tonight. Well, only other thing I want to say is I want to wish every one of you a Merry Christmas, and I want to wish the people of Iberia Parish a Merry Christmas. And like Warren, I want to thank the people of Iberia Parish for giving me an opportunity to serve as their parish president for the next 4 years. Thank you.
All right. At this point, we'll go on to consent agenda items for public hearing. The minutes, special meeting of December 4, 2019, regular meeting of December 11, 2019, summary number 211, introduced by the clerk of the council, a resolution declaring various office equipment in the legislative branch as surplus and further authorizing disposal of said items in accordance with the state and parish policy, always requested by the Iberia Parish Council. Summary number 212, introduced by the legal counsel, a resolution authorizing the parish president to execute an active donation or other such agreement accepting the donation of certain property having been previously abandoned by Missouri Pacific Railroad Company and being continuous to the parish public works facility located at 4018 East Old Spanish Trail, New Iberia, Louisiana, providing for the effective date thereof and otherwise providing with respect thereto. Summary number 213, introduced by legal counsel, a resolution authorizing the parish president to execute amendment number 1 in the contract of emergency and non-emergency services by and between Iberia Parish Government, the City of New Iberia, City of Jeanerette, Village of Lowerville, Village of Delcombe, and Acadian Ambulance Service Incorporated, providing for effective date thereof and otherwise providing with respect thereof. Does anyone want to pull any of the agenda items out of here? Yes, sir.
212 and 213 be removed. I just want to give just a brief explanation of both of those items.
Okay, so we'll pull 212 and 213. So we'll be voting on the minutes and summary number 211. Is there any further discussion? Right. I have a motion by Mr. Brown and a second by Mr. Goshasan. Roll call. Okay, those two items have passed. Summary number 212, Mr. Shealy, would you
Yeah.
like to?
I just wanted you to know that Mr. Richard was approached by members of the Shea family who wished to donate some property immediately behind the Public Works facility. I passed out a little map to each one of you so you could see. It's a strip that previously was part of the Missouri Pacific Railroad, which has since been abandoned to the family. It may actually be in the name of a limited liability company, but it is the Shea family who's offered to do that. And so I just wanted you to understand what we were doing.
Okay. Any further discussion on that item? I have a motion by Mr. Gustafson, a second by Mr. Brown. Roll call. Okay, item, summary number 212 passes. Now we'll be going on to summary number 213. Mr. Shealy?
Yeah, first of all, Mr. Errol Babineau is here on behalf of Acadia Ambulance Service. This is a contract that has been coming up every 3 years. We're suggesting that it be renewed for a 4-year period. That way, it comes due with every council as a new council comes up, rather than 3 years. Also, an option to renew every 4 years thereafter. This is the non-emergency and emergency contract that Acadian Ambulance provides for emergency services, both the rotor, the helicopter, as well as the airplane, the ambulances that you see. And each year we now have we have all the communities also sign up to that. So that's the recommendation. Mr. Babineau, is that?
Yes, that is correct. And I just want to say, we've been in Iberia Parish for 45 years, 4 months, 16 days, a little over 12 hours. And we've transported over 350,000 people. And if you take the 75,000 into that, everybody got transported 4.8 times since we've been in town. But obviously, there's some out-of-town people, so I'm just being facetious. But really, thank you for your consideration and the honor to serve Iberia Parish. Thank you.
Do you have any comments on the motion? Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Broussard and a second by Mr. Gustafson. Roll call. Okay, that motion passes. Ordinance introduced for public hearing, we have none tonight. Resolution, summary number 202, introduced by the clerk of the council, a resolution appointing Mrs. Fran Henderson as a member of the Iberia Economic Development Authority representing Iberia Parish Districts 1 to 7 for a 3-year term to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of the term of Mr. Chad Kuchwa, whose term expires December 31st, 2019. Note that was tabled from the December 11th, 2019 council meeting. I have a motion by Ms. Broussard, a second by Mr. Gustafson. Ms. Broussard?
Waive.
Ms. Gustafson? Mr. Gustafson? No further discussion. Roll call. Okay, that motion passes. Ms. Fran, you're on board. Thank you. Summary number 214, introduced by the clerk of the council, a resolution authorizing the renewal of a contract with For the Record Video Services LLC, DBA Bob Video Productions, for the videoing of council meetings for a 1-year period effective January 1st through December 31st, 2020. I have a motion by Ms. Broussard. I have a second by Mr. Olivier. Ms. Broussard.
Waive.
Mr. Olivier. No further discussion. Roll call. That motion passes. Summary number 215, introduced by the clerk of the council, a resolution appointing Mr. Edmund Burke to the Spanish Lake Game and Fishing Preserve Commission representing Iberia Parish for a 4-year term to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of term of Ms. Greta Green, whose term expires December 31st, 2019. Have a motion by Ms. Broussard, a second by Mr. Trahan. Ms. Broussard.
Waive.
Ms. Trahan, no further discussion. Roll call. Motion passes. Mr. Burke, welcome back to the Spanish. Summary number 216, introduced by the clerk of the council, a resolution appointing Mr. Robert Norris to the Iberia Parish Mosquito Abatement District Board representing the accounting community for a 3-year term to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of term of Mr. Robert Norris, whose term expires January 25th, 2020. Have a motion by Mr. Goshasan, a second by Mr. Brown. Mr. Goshasan.
Waive.
Mr. Brown? No further discussion, roll call. And motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Robert. Summary number 217, introduced by the Clerk of the Council, a resolution appointing Mr. Willie Polite to the Iberia Parish Mosquito Abatement District Board representing the labor community and a minority for a 3-year term to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of term of Mr. Willie Polite, whose term expires January 25th, 2020. I have a motion by Mr. Brown, a second by Ms. Broussard. Mr. Brown.
Waive.
Ms. Broussard.
Waive.
No further discussion, roll call. The motion passes. Mr. Willie, thanks for your time. Summary number 218, introduced by the Clerk of the Council, a resolution appointing Dr. Timothy Viator to the Iberia Parish Mosquito Abatement District Board representing the medical community for a 3-year term to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of term of Dr. Timothy Viator, whose term expires January 25th, 2020. I have a motion by Ms. Broussard, a second by Mr. Goshasan. Ms. Broussard.
Waive.
Mr. Goshasan. No further discussion, roll call. And motion passes. Summary number 219, introduced by the Clerk of the Council, a resolution appointing Mr. Roland Clark to the Lydia Veterans Memorial Building Board for a 5-year term to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of term for Mr. Roland Clark, whose term expires March 22nd, 2020. As a side note, Mr. Clark has not come to speak to the council, so we will need to table this to the next meeting. First up, Ms. Broussard.
Move to table.
Okay, I have a second by Mr. Traum. Is that fine? No further discussion, roll call on the table. And motion passes. Summary number 220, introduced by the parish president, a resolution appointing Parish President M. Larry Richard to the steering committee for the Watershed Region Number 5 of the Louisiana Watershed Initiative. Have a motion by Ms. Broussard, a second by Mr. Traum. Ms. Broussard?
Waive.
Mr. Traum? No further discussion, roll call. And that motion passes. Summary number 221, introduced by the parish president, a resolution amending the 2019 Road District Number 10 fund budget to provide for year-end adjustments. Have a motion by Mr. Olivier. I have a second by Mr. Traum. Mr. Olivier.
Okay. Pass.
Okay, Mr. Traum. Okay, no further discussion. Roll call. That motion fails. At this time, we'll look for adjournment, and if everybody holds tight, we will go right into the joint committee meetings. Motion to adjourn. Okay. Have a motion, hold it. What's that? Well, I didn't get a second motion. Okay. Well, I didn't take the final adjournment, so we're still in the meeting right now. Yeah, I might want to reconsider my vote. Well, there was no prevailing side. Mr. Shealy, could you come see for a minute?
Yeah, no, look, the failure to pass that is gonna put you in.
You in violation. You in violation.
You have an awful obligation to amend your budget anytime you're plus or minus 5%.
Okay, what I want to talk first about is that there was no prevailing side. I was on the vote of 7. I would like to reconsider my vote.
One is the prevailing side.
There is no
It
prevailing
failed.
side.
It failed, so the no's are the prevailing
Still
side.
in. Somebody wants to make a motion to reconsider.
But there's no prevailing side. I mean, can we still ask? I don't know, because it didn't pass either. Natalie, do you want to make a motion to reconsider? I don't know. You're not going to change one? You're not going to change your vote? Would you consider changing your vote? We're required by law to file, what Mr. Richard was talking about is we're required by law to have our budget balanced at the end of the year within 5% of what the budget is. So that's why during the times y'all see we go with this, the budgeted, whether revenue or expenses, has to be adjusted up and down and stuff like that. So we adjust the budget to make everything fall where we're supposed to be. So like Mr. Richard said, this would make our auditor write us up for a violation.
Going within 5% of the budget.
Well, that's what we have, that's why we're adjusting the recommendation, from the administration. Would you reconsider your vote?
Is somebody offering to reconsider?
I can as chairman. Okay, I have a vote for reconsideration of a vote with Mr. Olivier. I have a second by Marty Trahan. At this point, what we're going to do is vote on the reconsideration. And having 8, we need all 8 of us to vote for that.
Thank you, Mr. Brown, for letting me know. Appreciate it.
Okay. So what we're doing now is we're going to vote on whether we can reconsider the vote for Mr. Eugene Olivier. No, I have a motion by Eugene, a second by Marty. So, okay, at this time, roll call. Okay, that motion passes, so now we're going to reconsider the vote. So at this time, we will be going back to summary 221, introduced by the parish president, a resolution amending the road digit budget. So I have a motion by Mr. Olivier, and I have a second by Mr. Mathurin. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tim, you want to explain to the public about what it is exact?
I mean, I don't know if anybody has a particular question about the adjustment that was presented.
Explain, why we come to within 5% of the budget.
So anytime that there's an unfavorable variance, if revenue is less than what you budgeted or expenditures are above that 5% variance, you're required to get your budget within to 5%. So the adjustment, this is, I'm not sure.
You just said if we anticipated
It's
more
both.
or we anticipated less.
Well, it was more on the revenue side. The revenue we had budgeted for higher. If you recall, when the original budget was adopted for 2019, we had put some sale of equipment. That equipment wasn't brought to sale yet. That'll actually probably happen next year. And then on the user fees at Marshville's boat launch, those revenues are tracking lower than what they have in the past. So there's actual a reduction of $21,000, and we met that with a reduction on the expense side. So there's no impact to fund balance. Just we can't affect this change on our own. According to the terms of the charter, if we're affecting change to total revenues or total expenses, it's required to come to the council.
Start cutting expenses, guys. Gotta start, man.
Okay,
Yes, take the vote, man.
so no further discussion? Okay.
So
we're
if we don't pass this tonight, we get dinged by the auditors.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what they said, correct?
Yes, sir.
It is correct. Roll call? Okay, that motion passes. We have a motion to adjourn. Roll call? Everybody, Mr. Brown? Mr. Brown? Okay, we're adjourned.